Hi everyone, my name is Yasir, and I'm a PhD student at the University of Twente in the Business and Management and Social Science faculty. So yeah, my research topic is about measuring cloud security and risk, but the aim is to support a decision maker in risk management. So my topic for the Internet Society Pulse Fellowship Program is about measuring DNS maturity, and we add some more context, which is how can we see the connections or how this DNS maturity would affect national cyber resilience. So yeah, the agenda will be the first. I will give some introductions and motivations about the topic, and I will continue with methodology, and then results and the conclusions. So, I will start with the domain name system. So, in simple terms, domain name system is an internet phone book. So, the function is to, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. So the domain name system function is to uh, translate the domain name like example.com into internet protocol address like the locations of the content that we want to access. Second, yeah, it's a mission critical infrastructures of the internet because yeah, without DNS, then we cannot locate where is the content of that we want to access, and it was managed in a hierarchical structure format like yeah, I would say it's similar to how the address or mailing address is managed. Like we have the word, and then from the word we know the countries, and from the countries we know where are the provinces, and then from the province we know where the cities that we want to go to. And also in the DNS, we start from the root, and then we know all the top level domains like com, net, and .nl, for example. And for example.com, it being managed under the com register. And also for the like mail.example.com would be managed by DNS under example.com. And there are some attacks in the previous time which attacking the DNS infrastructures, especially using DDoS attack to take down the service because yeah, the service is the main backbone of the internet. So taking down the DNS service might also take down the access or the internet access. So it is crucial to promote security and resilience of a DNS infrastructure in this sense. However, to achieve or to approach this aim, there are some best practice in the DNS implementations. The aim is to maintain the resilience, which is how to maintain the quality of service in non-ideal situations. Right. So, for example, in a high traffic or something like that. So there are a couple of strategy, but we can summarize them into two. The first one is redundancy. So we provide duplicated critical components to prevent single points of failure. And the second strategy is the diversity, which we mix different technologies, different providers, or also the geographical locations to reduce dependency on a single element. On the other hand, there's also a security, which the aim or the objective is to protect information's confidentiality, integrity, and availability against cyber threat, which commonly being protected by encryptions, which is how we try to convert information into a ciphertext to prevent unauthorized access. There are a couple of ways for the DNS best practice, but let's walk through each one by one. So the first one is basically when we have a domain name, for example, example.com, we can assign two name server address for this example.com. For example, ns1.example.com, and the second one is ns2.example.net. We can provide two like this, or we can also provide one. But the best practice is to provide at least two like this. So at least there are two unique name server address. Also, it's also advisable to use a different TLDs for each name server. For example, for the .com and the .net for each name server address. So we add some redundancy, and also we add some diversity in the TLDs here. And moving on to the locations or the IP address of the name server itself, yeah, we can locate all these name server address in a single IP address. But for the redundancy, we often place them in a different IP address or servers. Again, on another layer, each name servers can also be placed into the same autonomous system, or we can implement some redundancy here by implementing them in a different autonomous system to avoid a single points of failure. In addition to autonomous system, we can also implement some redundancy or diversity in network prefix. So we locate them in a different prefix, or in a different regional internet registry. For example, one in RIPE and one which is under delegation of ARIN. Also, regarding the geolocations, one name server can be geolocated in Netherlands, and the other name server could be geolocated in United States. All of this to achieve these distributions and also the diversity of the infrastructure. Yeah, come back to the IP layer. We can also use, in addition to IP4, we can also introduce the use of IPv6, for example. We can use one or more than one IPv6. And the last one would be for the network type itself, with the name server could be belong in an anycast network, or it could also be belong in a unicast. However, for the anycast infrastructure, it is more preferable for the DNS server to avoid, to make it more resilient against like a bottleneck and DDoS attack. So this is a couple of DNS best practice that we evaluated, and we come up with these questions. So how can we measure a national cyber resilience based on the maturity of the DNS infrastructure supporting the country? So all of these best practices that we have talked about is a way how DNS infrastructure is supposed to be, or recommended way to implement the DNS infrastructures, but not all. But how could these implementations might also impact the resiliency of a country? So we try to evaluate the DNS maturity of CCTLDs and top sites per country to see how mature the DNS infrastructures at the CCTLD level, and also on the other hand, we evaluated DNS implementations among top sites per country. And we also try to estimate countries with the highest level of risk based on the maturity. So how mature the DNS infrastructures that support this country. And we also try to estimate this level using the potential impact of downtime based on the potential or the predicted size or magnitude of the downtime if it happened to the DNS. So to achieve this goal, we use a couple of data sources and from different kind of informations. So we use IANA root zone DB to get list of CCTLDs. And also we use IANA who is to get the authoritative name server requests for the CCTLDs. We also use NRO delegations to get IP to prefix mapping and IP to LIR mapping to identify the prefix and the LIR that the name server use. We also use the CADA IP to AS to find out the autonomous system of the name server. In addition, we also use GP tools and catch data. So they perform this Anycast census. The aim is to match whether the name server is actually belong in the Anycast or non-Anycast infrastructure. So we also use get DNS to confirm the DNS records and also to obtain the A and A records of the name servers. We also use it to get the DNS records to check whether these DNS or this name server implement DNSSEC or not. We also use IP info geolocation data to geolocate the name server and also the domain tools to get the domain count per CCTLD to estimate the potential impact of downtime to this CCTLD and all, yeah, and especially on CCTLD. Later, we also use Mozilla public traffic list to identify the A-level demand from the fully qualified domain name from the Google Crux country reports. We get the top sites by country. So we mainly do two analysis. The first is regarding the CCTLD's maturity, and the second one is the top sites per country under the designated CCTLD. So we only focus on the top sites that are under the CCTLD, which is associated with the country. And we excluded international domain names of the CCTLDs. And for the top list or top sites per country, we implement a simple heuristic to filter our top list. So initially, we get the top sites per country from Google Crux report, and we filter out only we filter only the top sites which fall under the CCTLD of that country. And furthermore, we only filter the top 1,000, but it still includes like a mail.kpn.nl and mine.kpn.nl also. In summary, it still include the subdomains, and we use Mozilla PSL to only include or extract the unique top PLD. And then we get the last top. We only include countries with at least 100 top domain names. We have this list of best practice metrics from Rafael Somis' work, which basically try to measure the implementation, like number of Unix records, number of IPv4, and etc. I would refer you to the original document about this. So basically, he made a recommended values for each of these metrics. So, for example, number of name server address at least 2, which is recommended. There are also some critical practice, and there are also some recommended ones. So, in addition, we distinguish between a bad practice, good practice, and better practice. So, this is a bit of a heuristic that we adopt. So, for the bad practice, if the measured value is actually below the minimum or recommended value, good practice if the measured value is between above the minimum but still lower than twice minimum value, and better if they are above the minimum value. And the results are like this. Among the CCTLDs, we can see that some metrics are implemented quite well. So either good or better practices. Yeah, some of the observation that we highlight is that most CCTLDs have implemented redundancy strategies, like a number of name servers, number of IPv4, number of AS. However, regarding the diversity strategy, only in the IP geolocations that we can observe, So they have multiple geolocation, but not in the name servers. So they usually use same TLDs for the name servers, such as ns1.abc.com and ns2.dev.com, for example. And the adoption of Anycast for name servers remains limited, which is relatively limited under the 80%. And here are the top 20 CCTLDs by DNS maturity. Some of the interesting observation that we made is that only a few CCTLDs from countries in Europe and North America here in the top most mature ones, despite the advanced economic and development of these regions. And in contrast, in African and Asian, CCTLDs from this region show a stronger presence. And at the bottom 20 CCTLDs, among them, there are some CCTLDs like B, Q, and EH, which is actually unassigned to their designated countries because there are in territory disputes. And there are some also KP, which is a North Korean CCTLDs, which might be influenced by internet access limitation by the government. And adoption of more recent technologies like Anycast and IPv6 are rather still low among these bottom 20 CCTLDs. And regarding the visualization, we also made some interactive dashboard on Flourish to visualize each matrix. So you can visit the dashboard here. Also, regarding the risk level of CCTLDs, we also introduced the domain count or the size of the CCTLDs to give some estimation about how would the effect of the how would the disruptions of this CCTLD would be impact throughout the world. And for example, here, if the .de is down, with 17 millions of domains name under it, it will be inaccessible, and it will the impact will be massive. You can also check the interactive dashboard later. But how we aggregate all the metrics into one score, we implement this score, which is good is +1, better is +2, and bad is -1. And regarding the DNS maturity of the country top domain names, we found out that not every CCTLD is popular among the users from the country. Some CCTLDs are popular to promote other identities like .ai, for example, which is actually CCTLD. And we found out that some CCTLDs are not very popular, so we put this threshold, which is 100, and then only 164 countries that we include. And this is the aggregated DNS score of the top sites. We can also see some similarities in which practices that is still less adopted, like Anycast here and also DNSSEC. And we normalize the score with the number of top domain names per country. And here we can see the bottom and top 20 countries based on the maturity of the top domains. And yeah, we can see some variations if we compare the maturity based on the CCTLDs and the top domains. And yeah, we also made some comparison between the maturity and the number of top domains, and to estimate what would be the country that are at most at risk. And in conclusions, some key takeaways is that we observe that some economic developments of a country doesn't necessarily correlate with the maturity of the DNS infrastructure, especially in the CCTLD level. And redundancy measure has been in place, but not the diversity. And yeah, we could see that we can estimate that some CCTLDs possess a higher risk level and need actions. And yeah, that some CCTLDs might carry identities other than national ones. And for future work, we plan to introduce web category to also evaluate DNS maturity across various industry sectors, and yeah, we will also prepare a scientific paper for that. And thank you. If you have any question.
Thank you very much, Yasir. Yes, happy to take questions if you have any. There was one from Hank, which I answered. So Hank was asking if the NS is anycasted, how do we determine geography? So I replied saying that if it's anycasted, there is no need to actually look into geodiversity because that's the
Yeah.
benefit of it being anycast. Um, yeah, I would like to thank Yasir also for his hard work on this project. A very important work again for the Internet Society as we want to increase our understanding of the DNS ecosystem and how it impacts resilience overall. Eventually, what we would want to do is integrate his work into the Internet Resilience Index of the Internet Society Pulse. Excellent.